Hi everybody, it's Chloe, and for my vlog discussion on chapter 6, I decided to do the passage Hollywood's Love Affair with Surveillance by Willie Osterwell. To start off this passage, Willie was a 2009 graduate of Cornell University. He's an activist, writer, and editor of the New Inquiry. And in this passage, he talks about how the film industry is complicit in the American security state's culture of surveillance. And he introduces a lot of examples of the film industry, including the act of total surveillance. In this passage, he includes examples that are recent during the editing of this passage. Captain America, the Winter Soldier in 2014, RoboCop in 2014, and Her in 2013. Throughout the passage, I noticed that his tone was kind of pessimistic or mocking, but I also wasn't sure because obviously this is a passage, not a speech, and I can't really analyze his body language or anything. But every time he talked about Marvel, he kind of dissed it in a way. They talked about how in page 343, the Winter Soldier shows the audience that they're watching hundreds of millions of dollars being spent is to throw about 30 plots at them. And obviously he's basically saying that the movie can't focus on the plot, and the audience probably has a hard time, or the author has a hard time watching Marvel movies because the plot is everywhere. And also there's this one quote he has in page 345. It says, in one of the film's approximately 19 different endings, love you Marvel. He's kind of like dissing them, and he kind of adds like a snarky remark at the end. Going back to the examples, he utilized these 3 examples to showcase the different types of ways the film industry portrays the total surveillance in their plots. In Captain America, they use it in a more military liberal aspect. In RoboCop, they kind of use artificial intelligence as an aspect, and in Her, they use the aspect of love, which is very persuasive to the audience. For example, when I was trying to choose which passage I wanted to do, I really wanted to do this passage because of the title, Hollywood's Love Affair with Surveillance. I thought it was like, what does love have to do with anything? So it just very intrigued me a lot, and I decided to read it. So just like with the example of Her, it's very intriguing, and the aspects in the film where he falls in love with his personal surveillance device. A personal example that I've experienced of the film industry being involved in showcasing the American security state's culture of surveillance is on Netflix. I watched the series Stranger Things, and there's this one scene in the show where Hopper finds out something about the government, and so the government puts heavy surveillance on him. They bugged one of his lamps, I think, and they made sure not to do a lot of them so he wouldn't get suspicious. But in the plot, Hopper is obviously suspicious, so he checks everything, and he doesn't find anything until it's either in his like AC unit or his lamps, and he finds a little bug that shows that people are listening to him, and it goes back to the government, but he detaches from it, and he detaches the bug from the lamp object thing, and he knows that his place isn't a safe place to stay, so he decides to talk to the fellow characters of Stranger Things somewhere else that he knows they're not being bugged.